Good evening, guys. It is Thursday night, and that means it is SARCO racing once again. Not a live stream, unfortunately. It is the updated highlights of the actual race, which will be commentated live. Just having a look, the guys have just finished their qualifying, and as you can see, we're at Snetterton. It is wet, wet, wet. Up in the top there is Wayne Bond. He's out-qualified our championship leader, that is Flip van Zyl. He's taken that top spot, which is pretty interesting to see. Then Adrian Bond, 0.2 of the second there off the time, so he's also put in an absolute great time there. Tyler Scott in 4th place with Johan VDV, 2.6 seconds off the pace. Then it is Thomas in 6th, Robert 7th, Michael Struvic, no time there, and Etienne, no time there. So obviously during the qualifying, something must have happened. We are running down in terms of the time, 42 seconds left of this qualifying session. The guys only had one lap as a flying qualifier to get it going. And 2-minute 0.2 is pretty fast, definitely in a qualifying scenario. Format for this evening is the 1-lap flyer, then a 25-minute race. Is a qualifying 2, but we will be using the starting positions off the first race. Top 6 go into a reverse grid. And we have seen definitely the impact that reverse grid makes on the racing. It definitely makes it nice and interesting. And it's all about just being patient for the guys that's started from that 6th, 5th and 4th place, just to know that they're quicker than the guys ahead. But it's just about being patient and finding, and you can hear that from the pit crew saying it is wet, make sure you brake early. I myself did not do that in my race with the TVT with Eleanor, and put it into 2 drivers. So the rain is definitely an interesting place. So let's just start off at the top while we get the countdown. So Wayne Bond up in 1st position, followed by Flip van Zyl in 2nd. Then it is Adrian Bond in 3rd, Tyler Scott in 4th, Johan VDV in 5th, Thomas Pretorius in 6th, Robert Stoltz 7th place. Let's see if we can get a better angle. There's Robert. Michael Struvic, but now we can't see him, so let's go back. There he is there on the right hand side in that chrome and blue livery. And then right at the back is Etienne in the Bulldog car. Just in terms of his practice, he did have some really good times there, so possibly an error for him during the qualifying and invalidated that lap, and unfortunately he's going to have to start at the back. So it is a manual formation lap. So once the guys get into their race, the racing orders, they will be doing a full lap, and that's just to make sure that there is no confusion for the next race. So you can see that they haven't completely sped away. So the guys will be starting in the current positions. So in shot that bronze and blue chrome And I must say, not really my favorite colors, but the more and more I'm looking at this car and looking at those colors, it definitely is going to grow on me. So Michael, yes.
Interrupting, but when the race started, it said there that it's got a pit stop. One mandatory pit stop with fuel. Just so you know.
But I'd taken that off, man. But thank.
It's there. I'm not going to talk. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you very much. So that means that everybody would possibly need to go and do it.
Okay, but how do we tell them that?
Oh, gosh.
Because it's myself, Salif, Robert, and Thomas are in the lobby, but that's it.
Okay, let's. Oh, shit. Okay, thank you. So we heard there from Johan VDV just saying that the pit stops were still there. It was something that was taken off, so quite frustrating that it has remained there. But that's definitely. Oh, I see the guys already going in and taking that pit stop early. So this is still going to be very, very interesting. So it is a race, and 4 drivers opting to go straight into the pits, and I think that that is quite clever. And that is a huge oversight for me as Flip van Zyl goes wide through turn number 2. And just about running into the back of Adrian Flip on the brakes, which gives a little bit of breathing space there, but it looked like Adrian Bond was going to sneak up on the inside there, but wasn't able to get close enough. Flip is very wide through turns number 3. Now they're going to head into turn number 4, a very tight corner, and it does tighten up on you, and it is definitely longer than you expect. Now through Hamilton. In the dry, you can definitely go through here flat. And now they head back towards the back straight. And Wayne Bond doing everything he can to start opening the gap. 1.4 seconds between himself and championship leader Flip van Zyl. Adrian in a second place. So through Brundle and Mansell. Then through the bomb hole. Got to be careful when you're saying that word. Now the long sweeping right-hander into the very, very tricky last corner. The curb on the inside is extremely large and can definitely catch you out. So with the pit stops now, that's Flip van Zyl going to the pits, Adrian Bond following him in. Which still leaves Wayne out in front, and this now promotes Michael into second place. Only one Honda here this evening, and that is driven by Michael. One Porsche, and the rest are effectively BMWs. And one of the comments was, it looks like it's a BMW Cup. So now that there are some pit stops out of the way, you can see the highest position is Flip van Zyl in third place. Then it is Tyler. He is in fourth with Johan VDV in fifth. And it looks like that Tyler and Johan VDV were actually able to get ahead of Flip van Zyl. So it looks like opting to pit nice and early was definitely a great strategy. But it's going to be very interesting to see where the likes of Wayne and Michael come out after their pit. The Flip van Zyl now within a second of the Porsche of Johan. Flip trying to get some clean air, but there's not going to be much space there. Johan just squeezing him. He did allow a little bit of space there. Flip looking for an opportunity but not able to get it. Going into Riches. Now they'll be heading up to the hairpin as Johan VDV goes a little bit too wide into the Montreal hairpin. Right on the back is that BMW, and it almost looked like Flip was pushing that Porsche along the track there. So it's now going to be on the brakes at Agostini. Flip on the inside. Johan VDV just cuts across the inside there, shutting that door. But now Flip gets a better drive out the corner, going into Hamilton, and he'll make that move stick. Great drive there for Flip. But out in front, Wayne Bond doing whatever he can, realizing that I'm sure he's seen the different positions, seeing that the guys that pitted earlier, they would have had the advantage of a slower pit entry. So Wayne choosing now to go into the pits. Michael is now going to effectively be the race leader. But now you've got Tyler Scott in third place, who is the highest position of the guys that have pitted. So Wayne is now done with his pit stop. He is now coming out, and you can see Tyler now coming down the start-finish line, exiting out of turn number 1. So we should be able to get a view now. So there is the race, effectively the race leader. So Tyler has now slotted in behind Wayne, and Wayne now still holding on to his lead. So Michael was 5 seconds behind Wayne. So just looking at the current positions is that when Wayne comes out of his pits, it looks like he might be slotting in somewhere between Flip van Zyl and Johan VDV. And the rain still does not look like it is easing off yet. Still 14 minutes left of this race, and now there's Flip van Zyl really closing up onto the back of Tyler Scott. Flip moves to the outside. And Flip was able to get himself ahead there. So it must have just got a great drive as he got onto the hanger straight. Apologies, the Bentley straight, not the hanger straight. That's not Silverstone. So Flip now 2.3 seconds behind race leader Wayne Bond, but knowing that Michael Strubeck, he is out in front there. 25 seconds is the gap there. He still needs to put his pit in. But now we've got Adrian Bond closing up on the back of the Porsche of Johan VDV through Montreal. So confirmation from Jeff that we've now hit the halfway mark of this race. You can just see how wet these conditions are. You can just see the corrections that Wayne, apologies, that Adrian needs to make when he's getting onto the power. You can see the counter steering required there. So down the Bentley straight. And the thing about the rain is that if you're offline, it is so difficult not only to stop the car, but to get it turned in. Johan going a little bit wide there, but using that curb on the outside just to help get a little bit of grip. Nice rough surface there for him. Oh, and Adrian is off. Just missing that turn-in point. So currently Michael Strubeck is out in first place. He still needs to get that pit stop done and dusted. But 25 seconds is that gap. And it is still going to be very interesting to see where Michael's going to come out after the round of pit stops. So Tyler in fourth place. And there is the race leader. And the thing about needing to do a pit stop is that my suggestion would be for him to rather pit now so that he does still have that time to fight. Because if you leave it just a little bit too late, is that it doesn't allow you to get back into that rhythm. So there is a little battle starting to develop here between Thomas and Etienne in the Bulldog Skincare car. Thomas in 8th place, Etienne in 7th. Ooh, just a little kick off the rear there. You could just hear that traction control working as Thomas comes out of Montreal. Still waiting to see what the time gap is between Wayne and Michael. Because if it's still within that 25 seconds, it's still going to be very interesting to see where Michael's going to come out after the pit stops have happened. So 24.5 seconds is that gap. Michael still needs to put 7 minutes left to go. And there's Johan VDV getting it a little bit wrong. And that was on the Bentley straight. So Johan's going to have the likes of Etienne and Thomas now chasing him down. Also seen that the gap between Wayne and Michael has now come down. It is less than 23 seconds. But Etienne now closing up onto the back of the Porsche. Now through the hairpin, traction control really working overtime. 23.8 seconds is now the gap between Wayne and Michael. 6 minutes left. Oh, Etienne is deep. Johan was also a little bit deep, but I think that was Etienne following him into that corner. And Etienne was definitely the bigger loser out of the two there. Big lock up there for Johan. So that's going to allow Etienne to go through and take that position. So Johan now down into 7th place. And Thomas just behind him. 5 minutes left to go. And Michael, lap number 9, still needs to get that pit in. So Thomas now putting a lot of pressure on the back of Johan. So Johan just battling to get that power down, and it looks like the BMWs have been able to definitely get the power down. I was just watching Thomas as he went a little bit wide. Are they going to be side by side? Thomas goes around the corner, turn number 1 through Richie. So I'm almost certain now that we're going to have a pit stop by Michael Tyler there in 4th place. Wayne in 2nd. And here's Michael Struwik. So Michael still not pitting, definitely going to leave it right to the end. But that last lap, 2-minute 0.5, so they're 0.6 off his fastest time. And Wayne and Flip, those two of them, looks like they're both doing the same lap times. Robert going a little bit too deep there. So Wayne, last lap, that was his best, a 159.3. And Flip van Zyl, a last lap, 159.3. So just as I said, these two matching each other lap for lap. Just see how that car looked like it understeered just a little bit there. Tyler Scott, car number 2, he is in 4th place. But again, with 2 minutes left, it's now going to need to see whether Michael is going to go in and do this pit stop. So Michael, the only Honda here this evening, as he loses the rear. That's looks like he just might have got away from that and touching the wall, but definitely not what he would have wanted. He would have wanted a nice clean entry into the pits. But just coming to that braking zone, you saw that rear just rotated ever so slightly. Because there goes Wayne, and there goes Flip van Zyl. So Michael now coming out of the pits. That is Tyler now coming into the last corner. So Michael looks like he might have just hung on to this 3rd place. So there's Michael rejoining in 3rd place. And that there is the battle for 1st and 2nd. So Wayne having started on the pole position with Flip van Zyl in 2nd. He is definitely going to, and I say definitely going to win here. At the current rates, he's definitely going to win here. I could have commentated, cursed that really badly. But only a couple more corners for Wayne to navigate. And that gap dropping down 2.5 seconds. So just 2 more corners for Wayne to navigate. And he will then come home in 1st place and take a win here at the Snetterton Underwater. So a great drive there for Wayne. with Flip van Zyl, the fastest man on the track here this evening, gets second. Great drive there for Michael. He will come home in second place. Tyler, that'll be a fourth place there for him, with Adrian Bond in fifth. Etienne, well fought sixth place there for him. He'll come through the last corner. Johan VDV, he will finish in seventh place, with Thomas, a little bit of damage on the front of that BMW, in eighth. And whoa, Robert getting that very, very wrong. Robert will come home in a ninth position. So thank you very much, guys. We'll just stop it here, but then just tune in as Robert, for the cameras, gives us a little bit of sideways action as we tune in for the next race, and that will be starting in the next 5 minutes or so.